Hey y'all, Jen back from PepperHarrow. Today we're going to be making a kissing ball. Kissing balls date back to the Middle Ages and they became really popular during Victorian times. And the symbolism behind a kissing ball is love and devotion. During Victorian times, they would use either an apple or potato as their base for a kissing ball. They would stick in beautiful greenery. They would add accents such as rosemary, thyme, and lavender for beautiful accents. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So follow along. I'm going to show y'all how to make a beautiful kissing ball to celebrate the holiday season. The first thing I want to show y'all is the supplies that are going to be needed to make your little kissing ball. Today, I'm going to be using a little foam ball that I picked up at a local craft store. This is a 3.5 inch in diameter ball, just to give you an idea of what I'm working with today. The next thing you're going to need is a pair of scissors, a pair of snips, something sharp to be able to use, and these are very sharp, pointy scissors that I'm going to be using. Paddle wire, this is 22 gauge paddle wire. I grabbed a little plant tag, and I'll get to why I'm using this here in a minute. Any beautiful ribbon that you want to use to hang from your ball. I am going to use 3 different kinds of ribbon, a velvet, a satin, and then a shiny. I'm gonna pair all these ribbons together to make a beautiful bow for the top and some streamers to hang from the bottom of my little kissing ball. I have some beautiful rosemary that I just cut from the garden, thyme as well. I also have some very beautiful lavender, which has a lovely gray sheen about it. What I use to make my kissing balls with are boughs that have already been trimmed off for wreath making. They actually came from noble fir. So now that we have our boughs, I'm going to show you, we're just going to take them. We're going to use our pair of floral snips, and we're going to begin taking off some of those little side pieces that you saw. And we're going to keep cutting off little bits off of our boughs and just get a really nice pile ready to go. This is going to make the foundation for our kissing ball. If you're not working with recycled boughs like I was, you'll probably need 6 to 7 regular boughs of greenery to be able to complete your kissing ball. I have my little foam ball ready to go. I'm going to cut off a length of my wire here. I'm going to make sure that my paddle wire is doubled. What you're trying to do is figure out how far the wire can go down into the ball itself. I don't want to make it incredibly tall, maybe 12 inches tall, and I'm going to fold it in half. So I just took the wire, I folded it in half. I'm going to take the wire back down to where I started, and I'm going to make my cut. I don't have any wire cutters here, but if you want to add wire cutters to your mix, do that. Adam always gets mad at me because I use my little clippers, and I shouldn't, but I do sometimes. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my plant tag, and I'm going to cut just a little bit off here and just use a little square. This is really all you need. And where the sharp snips come in is I'm going to make a little hole in the middle, and I just take the sharp end and make a little hole in the middle of my plastic plant tag. I have my little hole made here, and I'm now going to take my wire, and I'm going to take not the top end with the little loop, I'm gonna take the bottom ends that aren't tied together, and I'm gonna take them down through there for that. And I am going to make a little loop at the bottom where my little legs were. And I made a little circle, and I'm just kind of tying it around at the bottom, making a little circular pattern. And I'm just going to do that until all of my extra wire has run out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this circular part up here, and I'm going to take it through the center of my little foam ball now. I'm going to take my scissors, and I am going to insert one of the ends and push it straight through to the bottom of the ball carefully. I've now just made a little pathway for my wire to go straight in. There we go, perfect. And now I'm gonna pull my wire straight through. And now I have this is going to end up being the top of my ball up here, and then this is the bottom of my ball down here. So I have my ball ready to go. I'm gonna end up hanging my kissing ball from this little piece of wire. This is where my ribbon is going to end up hanging off of. But for this, I'm gonna take the top part, I'm gonna leave a little length of wire, again, probably 2 inches or so, like that. And I'm gonna take the top of the wire, and I'm just going to twist tie it like a sandwich bag. I just twist tied and made a little loop. Now we're gonna stick in some of our greenery. And I already pre-cut all of my greenery. I'm just going to begin popping it into the ball. All you do, if you want to be a little bit more efficient with how you're doing it, you can pull off some of the bottom greenery and just make sure that you're working with this little stem to be able to stick it into your ball. But I just start in one little section and I start sticking my greenery in, not worrying too much about anything. I'm going to put my greenery in first, then I'm gonna pop in some of my herbs as accents. I'm not really worried about where I'm putting all the little pieces of greenery. You're just going to try to put them together as close as you can, popping them into your little foam ball. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to, once we fill in with all the greenery here, you're not gonna be able to see your mechanics. If you can see the little green ball at any point, we're gonna go in and stick in more of our herbs or more greenery just to fill it in a little bit. And I have started pulling all the little needles off the bottom because it's much easier to get it into that foam ball. Okay, the basic greenery for our kissing ball is complete. The next thing I do is I go around and kind of just check it out and see if there's any spots that are missing a little bit of greenery. Everything looks pretty good, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stick some beautiful herbs in here to create something a little bit more traditional. If you don't like herbs, if you just want to go with this beautiful greenery, leave it. It's totally fine. It's beautiful as is, and you can use it just like this. And if you want to add some beautiful battery-powered lights in here, that could be really pretty too. Watch along as I add in a little bit of my herbs in here. With my herbs, they're a little bit tall, so I'm just going to cut them down a little bit so that they're about the same size as those little bundles that I was working with. And I'm gonna just randomly tuck them in here for a little bit of an accent. These are really nice, especially if you're bringing your kissing ball inside your home to enjoy for the holiday season. The fragrance from these herbs is absolutely incredible, especially when you consider the greenery on top of it. So I'm just randomly popping my rosemary in, and then I'll start adding my lavender and then some of my thyme as the finishing touch. You just want to kind of spread it out throughout your kissing ball. Don't let it all be in one particular area. Now that my herbs are in, I am going to go ahead and tie in my little bow. I love the way it's looking. If anything, I'm just gonna go back in here and add a few more herbs, but it looks so beautiful and it smells unbelievably incredible. If you really love herbs, pop in as many herbs as you can in here. Now we're gonna do the bow. For the bow, I'm using leftover ribbon that I had left over from the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. So this was my color palette, but I really love the color palette this year. And I love using 3 different types of ribbon material together. I'm going to use this shimmery gold color. It already has kite tails on it, which is really fun. I'm going to pop in some of this green. So I'm gonna pop that green satin on top, and I'll end up making little kite tails with it later. And then I'm gonna do my brown velvet on top, and it's going to look right like this. So I'm just gonna take my little piece here. I am going to put it on here onto the loop that I made to be able to hang it. You can hang it from that metal wire, or you can hang it from these beautiful bows so that that can be on full display. Just make sure that, especially like the velvet is not double-sided. So I definitely want to flip that around so they can see that beautiful warm brown color coming through. There we go. And I'm going to give my bows up here on top a little snip. So all I'm gonna do with the top of this is make a little knot on top. I'm gonna keep it very, very, very simple. You can make this as long as you want or as short as you want, but I'm just going to make a little double knot up at the top, up here. So tied in a knot once, and then tying the second time here. And I'm just gonna have a knot on top up here, which is totally fine. This is what I want. If you want to make it a more beautiful bow up here, you can. I just want to keep it very simple because I'm going to hang it simply like this. And I am going to cut off my little tails here. So this is what I will end up hanging my kissing ball off of. So we have this up on top, and I'm going to put a few little streamer tails from my ribbons down here at the bottom. So going back to the bottom, if I can find it, we made these little loops here where I made the circle with the wire. I'm gonna pull that a little bit out. Hopefully you guys can see it here. I'm gonna pull out some of that wire. I wanna leave a majority of it so it holds my thing and so that it holds everything in place for me. But I'm taking a piece of that wire here, and I'm just going to end up making a little circle and then twist tying it just like I did the top. And this little loop that I made here is going to end up being where I hang my ribbons off of. So that is all. It just has to be a tiny little loop. It's going to end up, when I grab it by the top, it's going to end up pulling this loop down in there. So you won't be able to see it, but you're going to see these little tails coming out from the ribbons that we're getting ready to use. I'm going to grab some of the gold. I'm going to grab some of my satin ribbon, just like we did the top. I'm just going to make another double-sided ribbon so it looks like streamers are coming down. It is so pretty. I'm not going to make it extraordinarily long. I really just want to make it kind of matching what I did on the top. So I am just kind of taking into consideration what I have done there. If you want to make them longer, do try to make the top a little bit longer so that it looks right together. So this is probably about 12 inches on both sides here. I'm going to go ahead and cut the ribbons. This is where we can do kite tails or make the ribbons look a little bit more fancy. So I have my length of ribbon here, a little over 24 inches is what I'm working with here. But again, I just want to make sure everything's going to face and so people can see it. So I'm going to flip it over since this is on the bottom, and I'm going to gently weave in this ribbon in through this little loop that I have made on my kissing ball, and I'm going to pull it through, and I am going to make another double knot around that loop, double knotting these together carefully, keeping them together in their set of three, in their little grouping of three, making sure they don't come apart here, like so. Pull it through, make your double knot like that, and go ahead and let them hang down. Like I said, if you want to end up making kite tails, like this doesn't look that pretty, so pop it together and then make a little triangle, and now you have your beautiful little kite tail all ready to go. So I'm going to repeat that pattern for all of these ribbons, and then we will be done. I'll show you all what it looks like. Okay, now all of our little kite tails are done. I'm going to go back to the top area. Pick it up by our little ribbon here, and if you want to fill in a little bit more up here on top, you can. If you want to make a giant bow up here on top, you can, to kind of sit here before you get to this part. You can totally do that. But here's our little kite tails hanging down, and they look so pretty. I just love the way they look, really sharp, all kite-tailed up, and the little streamers hanging down. It looks so gorgeous. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take this outside or bring it in the house and hang it up. I hope y'all enjoyed learning how to make a simple, traditional kissing ball. Hopefully it inspired you to try to make a kissing ball for your home to decorate for the holiday season. If y'all enjoyed today's video, please like and of course subscribe if you like seeing videos like this. And as always, thanks for joining and happy growing.